So what other kinds of things did you find disruptive to your sleep?
Well, I think for me, personally, just the older I got, it was harder to go to new places all the time and be comfortable sleeping there, especially in combat. You never know what's going to go on. You don't know who the enemy is, who the friends are, what the safe places are. So it was just always being in new places. We were never in our own spot for very long. So that made it hard for me because I just never felt like I could relax and let myself be at ease. And trying to develop a normal rhythm, there was just no way that was going to happen. So you had to learn to try to sleep with the erratic schedule. Also, and I think one of the significant factors is just the cultural environment in the military. For them, the less sleep you got and could get by on, the better you were as a warrior. So it's kind of like a badge of courage or a badge of honor for us to get less sleep, and people would brag about how little sleep they got. So it was something that they applauded.
Yeah. What types of problems did you experience when you didn't get enough sleep?
For me, a lot of it boiled down to being irritated and being overly aggressive. Another one was just having difficulty concentrating. When you don't get enough sleep, you're trying to deal with problems and you've got information coming from so many different areas and directions, and it's so hard to take that information and process it.
Did you ever notice that lack of sleep directly affected your abilities?
Yeah, there were a number of occasions where I feel like I dropped the ball because my brain wasn't functioning the way it should have. One in particular that comes to mind was in Afghanistan. We had to travel to one of our other bases, and we had been up all day the day before, and then we were up all night waiting for the helicopter, the ride on the helicopter, getting into the new base, and then getting arranged in what was going to be our quarters for the next few days, which was really a tent with some cloth walls put up to make little rooms. But we got in there, and it was just morning. The sun had just come up. We were dog tired. We were throwing off our gear, putting it on the deck, and an IDF alarm went off, indirect fire, which signifies that somebody was shooting mortars into the camp. And I just froze. I stood there. I heard the alarm going off, but I didn't respond. I didn't react like I should have, and my chaplain was screaming at me, "What do I do? What do I do?" And finally it was his screaming that kind of shook me from my frozen state, and I just told him to get on the ground. So we both jumped on the ground and laid there, when in fact what I should have done, so that was just one instance where I panicked, and the panic froze me. I wasn't able to move. I wasn't even able to think, which really scared me because I was stuck there. And my mind wasn't moving at all. It's almost like a computer when it freezes up. You know? Yeah. It's not moving, it's not processing, it freezes. And that's what I had done. And that's a dangerous situation to be in, especially when you're taking incoming. There were also a few times in Iraq when we were out on patrol with the Riverine Squadron folks. And it's hot, and you're tired, you're exhausted, you haven't slept in a while. And there were times on patrol where I felt like I was going to go down. I thought I was going to pass out. It was so hot, my head was swimming, everything was spinning, and I knew I could feel myself going into what I would consider a state of heat exhaustion. But you're out on mission, you're on patrol, and you can't stop in the middle of it and say, "Wait guys, I got to take a time out. So I just kept going, putting one foot in front of the other, hoping that I didn't go down and that something didn't happen and I would be unable to protect my chaplain.
Yeah, that's hard. Alright, what were the most pronounced issues you saw with yourself?
I think the biggest one was just, it was a vicious circle, because the less sleep I got, the harder it was for me to get to sleep at those times where we were able to lay down and try and rest. So you're exhausted and you really need to sleep, but you can't because you're so tired. You're exhausted and you're stressed.